Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Guns and Yellow Ribbons preview show. Apart from tonight, we've got no games to preview. The Arsenal don't play this weekend, so we're going to take a little look back at the Nottingham Forest game. Then we're not going to talk about the PSV game till Monday. We're going to look back at some previous trips we've done and hopefully entertain you and not bore you too much. Joined by Andrew and Fergus. Have a laugh. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Evening, Trevor. Evening, Andrew. How are we?
Evening. How are we doing, boys? All right?
See, Andrew, what did he say just before we went live? You did the intro. As soon as we come on here, he sticks his butt in straight away. And we're not even a minute and a half into the show, and he's winding me up. Anyway, Ferg, you carry on. I'm just going to sit in the background. You carry on. Go on, carry on.
No. That's set the tone for tonight, isn't it?
I was saying good evening. Jesus Christ, drive a man to beer, you would.
Listen, I've been going through all the old photo albums today of all the previous European trips, and I think I found a few stories. But I was looking through the photos and thinking, can't talk about that, can't talk about that, can't talk about that. But anyway, as everyone knows, I adore European away trips. Right, I try and get to everyone. I've not missed many in the last 7 years, I think. So yeah, be a pleasure to talk about. Some Fergus has been on. Some of the stories will be at his expense tonight. Some will be at mine. Andrew hasn't accompanied us before, but I'm sure he will be accompanying us in the near future. And he's going to feel free to jump in and ask some questions. But let's talk briefly about Forest, boys. We were all there. All three of us were there. Andrew, what did you think, mate?
You know what? I actually thought we played quite well. I wasn't disappointed, apart from the fact we didn't score. I thought, it was a better performance than certainly what we put against West Ham on Saturday. Forest offered us nothing against us, did they? And I think that had we had that striker or that player to put the ball in the net, we'd have easily won that game. I'd say 2-3-0.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know, I really do agree, mate. I thought we played all right. I thought we moved the ball nicely, transitioned it forward okay, but Marino, it just showed that Marino wasn't a centre forward. Although, in fairness, he realised 2 or 3 times that he was in the wrong position and he weren't quite right. And he put it right straight away. He tried his hardest. Yeah. He really did. But we have to remember he's a midfielder playing up front and doing his very, very best. But
I think Dan said that, did he, coming out, didn't he? And then Dan said that, you could tell at times he's a holding midfielder playing in a striker's role because of some of the runs he was making. But he is, like you say, he's doing his best. He's stepping up when we need him.
Thank you for that, Ferg. Nice of you to say that, mate. Yeah. Ferg, listen, I was quite shocked because the Forest goalkeeper was time wasting all through the second half.
Oh, yeah.
And the Forest fans cheered it like they'd won at the end when they got a point. And I was a bit miffed by it. I thought, how can they be at home, third v second, and be cheering, getting a point, clapping, getting a point? But I've been pulled up about it, and people are saying to me, no, Forest will be happy with that. Really happy they got a point. How did you see that, Ferg?
Like Andrew, I thought it was better, seeing a better display than we played against West Ham. I thought with the lineups, I thought that he probably should have started Sterling up top. But after seeing Sterling play, the cameo role he did play, I said to some people, if he was a 15-year-old kid trying out for a team, it would be sorry, mate, you're not having a career in football. I thought it was absolutely awful.
Really?
I thought it was very, very poor. He looked absolutely devoid of any sort of confidence whatsoever. He was frightened when the ball came near him. He didn't know what to do with it.
You see, I thought he looked nervous, but he also managed to get some crosses into the box, which is what he's there to do when he's out wide. Last week against who were we playing against last week when he
West Ham.
Leicester. Yeah,
Oh.
he was awful. But this week he actually did put the ball in the box a few times when he came on, and I thought he looked a bit better. Andrew, did you?
I'm with Ferg, Trev, mate. I'm sorry. I was really disappointed. I really wanted him to go and run at their fullback.
Moving on. No, I'm joking.
I wanted him to go and run at their fullback. And I just, it's part of it, this time is that one of the guys stood around near us said, it's kind of like the team are afraid to give him, or don't want to give him the ball at times. Because there was times when Tierney made that one really long pass, didn't he? It went from right to left. It was a cracking pass. But he just got it, and when you expect him to pick the ball up and run, he just kind of slowed the play down again. And his confidence, I don't know what it is, but I just think he's got so much more to offer. And when we signed him, it was a bit of a, wow, what are we doing here? But part of me was kind of really hoping and praying that he would turn up.
I was interested when Odegaard was taken off, and I thought, like, was that because he was nursing an injury? Is that because he's not feeling right? Because doesn't look like he's playing as well as we've seen him play for the majority of the season, in fairness, Trevor. But I was impressed with Zinni, but I did wish he took that shot rather than squared it back to Odegaard.
Yeah.
Squared it back to Tierney as well.
I agree with what you say about Odegaard's not looked the player he was this season. But I'm not happy that some people it happens all the time on social media, doesn't it? People go over the top and have been ripping into him a bit. He doesn't deserve that. He'll come good again. He's had a bad illness, bad virus. He was out for ages. And honestly, I think if we had other people to call on, maybe Odegaard wouldn't have put the minutes in that he's had to do. Yeah. And in the earlier games, he was subbing him. But I just think that Odegaard's been off the scale for us the last few seasons, and he's allowed to have a few games where he's a bit under the weather, and hopefully he'll bounce back very soon, because we've still got a lot to play for this season. We're still right in this Champions League. But before we move on to the Champions League, Ferg, answer that one then.
Yeah, to be honest, we were talking about that in the car on the way back, and we also were saying, I was saying at the pub with some mates as well, the young 15-year-old or 16-year-old guy, I think he is, something Butler. He's a striker. He knows where the net is. He knows where the ball is. He knows what positions a striker should be in. And if he's good enough to be on the bench, he's good enough to be starting. And I would be seriously considering putting him on against Chelsea or maybe PSV or Man United. Or he's definitely got a feature while we don't have any threat up front. Because if you look at the stats from this game, Trev, and then we can go on to Europe. If we look at the stats from this game, no goals, 6 shots on target for 6 shots versus 13 shots, and we only had 1 shot on target, and that was the one that what's his name got in the way of their number 31.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let me just move it on. Let me just move it on to Andrew then before we move on. You see, if we've got a 16, 17-year-old on the bench, I look at what he's got to come on against a Forest team that are third in the league, big, bulky defenders, especially in the middle of the park. Very, very accomplished defenders, and would we want a blood 16-year-old in there? Yeah, he'd come on full of enthusiasm, but would he put him back a bit? I don't know. I haven't got an answer, but what I do know is we looked a lot better, and it was rather than against West Ham where we thought, oh, Jesus, all 11 were awful. We looked a different side against Forest, mainly because Forest did come out and play a bit. Not a lot, but they came out and played a bit. But at least we were back to the same old story. We were void of a striker, So, yeah, I honestly think maybe, and this is a nice way to move us on into Europe, Ferg. I think maybe, Ferg, we're better suited to winning in Europe the way we are set up at the moment, mate.
Yeah, well, if we're defensively, we're strong. You could see Gabriel. We were so close to him where we were in our seats at Forest. You can just see how much he communicates. For a guy who struggled to communicate with English when he first came over here, definitely gets his message across to Calafiori and the other in the defence. He's constantly talking to Raya and so on. So defensively, I think we're set up very, very well for Europe. And if we talk about Semi looking forward to PSV. I know we're going to look at it in more detail on Monday. Well, we're going to try to, but you're going to be drunk as a lord, so it's going to be a complete car crash.
I can't wait till Monday night. It's going to be great.
Why are you boys so? I don't often get drunk when we're abroad.
No, Trev, you've got to, mate. It's the highlight of the show, mate. It's got to be done.
The captain's in the house. But I think if we can go to PSV, come back with a 0-0, and then hopefully have some players back for them in a few weeks' time, that we can just go through on a 1-0, and then hopefully on to Real Madrid, and then I don't know where, Barcelona and Munich.
Don't get too far ahead now, Ferg. I mean, I'd never get too far ahead, would I?
No, not at all.
Says him that's already booked his flights to Madrid.
I'm booked for Germany for the same time, unfortunately, in a different city.
That's for the final, Ferg.
Yes, for the final.
Too far ahead now.
Yeah.
I was talking about Madrid.
Should we do a quick flick through some of these photos? Just not talk about them, just show people the sort of memories that we've got in here, and then we'll have a chat about Europe. Should we do that?
Oh, well, each photo tells a story, Ferg. Are you trying to dodge the issue here?
No, I'm not
trying to dodge the issue, my son.
I've got a feeling there's a particular picture in it, and he's trying to get it round so he doesn't nobody talks about it. Come on, let's talk about each one.
We can pick out any of these pictures, but let's give people a flavour. So, right, here we go. Let's so. These are some of the pictures. A lot of them are Trevor. There's Bodo. There's just so many great memories. And when Trevor sent all these, he just photo dumped onto my WhatsApp.
Jealous,
some of these photos, I was sitting watching them and I go, wow, I remember that. All the smiling faces were just absolutely brilliant. Trevor, should we go back through some of these in a few minutes, and we'll talk about our memories in Europe?
Yeah, we want to start at the first one, really. I need to start at the first one. I'm not going to dwell on it because you say I'll talk about it too much, but we'll go back to the first photo and we'll talk about that trip to Poltava, because with where Ukraine is at the moment, it'll be good to talk about them in a different light for a couple
Have you seen what Trump done to Ukraine on the news?
Well, mate, do you know what? I can't watch the news, me. And call me what you want. I don't like watching the news. I just end up throwing something at the television every night. So
yeah,
I read it on my phone, and then I can flick past what doesn't interest me or what's too stupid. Yeah.
I'm just going to get back to that picture, mate. 1 second.
So, Trev, is this the picture where, is this the start? Oh no, not the start. So is this the one where you were over towards the Ukraine and you got moved by Arsenal?
No, not by Arsenal. We were the game. It was a Europa League game in a place called Poltava, Andrew, in Ukraine, and it was a difficult place to get to at the best of times. So, a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, good friend of mine, John Williamson, he told us, we can get flights to a place called Kharkiv on the Tuesday and get a train to Poltava, but we've got to go on the Tuesday for the Thursday game, and we can't come back till Saturday because they only did flights on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Right. So we said, yeah, that's fine. That'll do. We're on it. It was only about 35 quid return. So that was a big pointer. And that picture is me outside the Poltava Stadium, the Vorskla Poltava Stadium. We got there on the Tuesday, and on the Tuesday night or the Wednesday morning, that martial law was declared around the Poltava area because the Russians were getting a bit leery across the border. So my missus see it going across the bottom of the screen on Sky News and thought, oh my God, it says here Arsenal fans are trapped in Poltava, So she eventually got hold of me and I said, no, we're not trapped. We're fine. We're in our hotel, wondering what's going to happen to the game. They're going to decide tomorrow. So she went, all right, what are you doing? What are you doing? A big panic. And I said, well, I'm getting pissed. Beer's 30p a pint. So I'm having a beer. And it was fine. And in credit to Arsenal, the Wednesday Arsenal football, I got my phone went and it was Arsenal Football Club. And this young lady went, is that Trevor Hill? I said, yeah. She said, we've got in our records that you've booked a ticket in Poltava. So I said, yeah, that's right. Yep. She said, look, martial law's been declared in Poltava. Arsenal Football Club are advising against any travel there. Please don't go there. The game's been moved to Kiev. Go to Kiev. So I said to her, I've got a bit of a problem. She said, what's that? I said, I've been in Poltava for 2 days already. And she went, what? Anyway, we had a bit of a laugh about it and it was fine. And Arsenal, it cost us a bit extra because we had other travel plans to make, and Arsenal actually reimbursed us. So that was very good of them. The game took place in Kiev, was all safe, flew home from there. And the big thing of the night in Poltava, in Kiev, we won easy, and Bukayo Saka made his debut, and it was the start of a bit of history being made, you know. Yeah, so it was a wonderful trip. An up, down, didn't know where we were going, bit worried when they declared martial law. But, yeah, at the end of the day, we're Arsenal fans. If there's football, we'll go.
Trev turns up in a foreign country and war breaks out. That's what you need to know.
I think we need to get to. I think we need to get to Iceland for tomorrow, and I don't mean the frozen food aisle. It's National Beer Day in Iceland tomorrow because they're allowed to sell beers since 1989.
Yeah, the only trouble is you can only afford to buy one.
That's true. This is true. And listen, since we're out east, let's look at this one next. So, Baku Stadium. You went out for the final. It was planes, trains, and automobiles for most that went out there for the final. You were living in Greece at the time, so it was easier for you to fly there than many.
Well, it was meant to be. I was living in the Greek island, so I only used to probably get to about 1, maybe 2 Arsenal games a month. I used to fly back just for a day and go home again to Greece. But when that final was in Baku, I thought, right, it's got to be easy to get there. But oh my Lord, I had to fly. We lived on Kos, so I had to fly from Kos to Athens, Athens to Istanbul, Istanbul to Tbilisi, and then Tbilisi to Baku.
Yeah.
It was a right trip, but do you know what? It was worth every minute because we got there. Baku wasn't a bad place at all. It was like a strange city, a city of a massive divide. At one end of the city, you had big skyscrapers, posh hotels, and obviously money and the Formula One track. The other end of the city, they're still living under tarpaulin, you know. So it was very much a developing city, but I felt totally safe there. We found one British pub in the town called the Red Lion. It was. I'm not going to name who it was under any circumstances, but I know someone that spent 4 days in that Red Lion pub, only came out to watch the game, slept there as well, didn't kick him out at all. So he had a good time.
Yeah, in your head.
It was. It's not for me to say at all who it is, Fergus, and I'd forgive you for not guessing. But the funniest story from there was after the game, we went up the top of this posh hotel, and there was about 8 or 10 of us sat in this bar, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm drunk, and we're drinking, and then I looked again, and the view had changed, right? And then I looked again, and the view had changed again. I'm thinking, what's going on? Am I having a fit here or what? And it wasn't until we'd been up there about an hour that someone told me it was a revolving bar on the top of this building. So it was spinning around like, and I thought, well, no wonder. When I found out, I worked it all out, you know. But we did leave without paying for a round of beers that night. We didn't mean to. We were chased down the street by a very upset local Azerbaijani hotel manager. But we paid. We said we're sorry, and that was it. But it was a great trip. Shame about the football. Funny old game of football in Baku. 0-0 at half time against Chelsea. I'm thinking, yeah, this is all right. This is all right. And in second half, we just completely lost the plot. I don't know what went on at half time, but we changed completely. It was embarrassing. And Mesut Ozil let us down bad that night. But anyway, it was a good trip, and that's what it's all about, you know.
One of my first European away trips was to Cologne, the home of Podolski, and that was a really good trip. It was my first ever European away trip, and you do notice, like, I've been home and away with Arsenal up and down the country, and more so in recent years. But there's a completely different feel doing a European away day than an away day in the UK, Trevor, don't you think?
Yeah, well, of course, it's different. There's a lot more planning to do. You have to be clever with the flights, you know. And you get to know people, and you know who you can ask about where to go to if it's these out of the way places. Cologne was easy enough, you know, but some of them are very difficult. But you get there, and it's good. There's some youngsters coming through following Arsenal abroad now, which is wonderful. I like that. But you still see a lot of old faces about, and I adore the trips. You know, I adore the trips. And by the way, Andrew, Andrew, the first time you come on a European away with us, it's like we've all done it. We've all bought the first 6 rounds of beers. You know what I mean? We've all done it.
Oh, I tell you, it's funny. I say to Ferg one of the other day, I said, I'd love to go out to Eindhoven. With work, there's big stuff going on at work at the moment, and there's no way I just won't get a minute's peace. And I just said to her, I said, plus I'm probably looking at the thick end of 500 quid on her before I've even paid my flights, because that's just going to be beer money.
You see, the airlines have been clever. They put their prices right up, and now they've come down a bit. I looked today; they're about 320 quid flights now. They did go up to nearly 600, and we've got a spare ticket. I know someone with a spare ticket, Andrew. If you're up for a last minute trip.
What was that? What was it? Eurostar? Let's have a look.
No, not Eurostar. Ryanair.
Ryanair. Yeah, we'll fly instead.
Trevor, I know you like a little bit of music in the car, and it's normally Catherine Jenkins, but when myself, yourself, and Terry drove to Milan, from Milan to Zurich, it was a bit of well, it wasn't Zurich, it was St. Gallen. We were playing FC Zurich up through the Alps, and we had a bit of Louis Dunford, didn't we?
Yeah, we did indeed. You know what? I enjoyed that trip very much. That drive up there. Fergus isn't the most comfortable of drivers, but he's even less comfortable as a passenger, right, Andrew? So we're driving along. We've got out. Driving through northern Italy was a nightmare. They've got no patience at all, them people. But we get into Switzerland.
It's also, cars are a bit allergic to crash barriers, and you drove straight out one.
Well, I did, only because I thought I knew it'd make you scream. We're coming up. I'm in the right-hand lane, which is the inside lane there, Andrew, right? And I see we've got to pull out with these bollards coming up. And I look in my mirror, and there's absolutely nothing behind me at all. So I thought, right. So I just kept pointing towards them. And Fergus, he said to me, you got to pull out here. You got to pull out here. You got to pull out here. Fucking pull out here! I'm
the dashboard like this. All up the dashboard.
Brilliant.
That was hilarious. And then I thought, well, I'll put my music on, Catherine Jenkins on. Now, I mean, anyone want to come in the comments and tell me what they think of Catherine Jenkins, right? I love listening to Catherine Jenkins. I can't help it.
From the Cali to the cross and every shithole in between. Past the church, the mosque.
Can you if you cut me off again, that's it. I'm ending the show.
Okay, good.
I'm ending the show. You're so rude.
What are you talking shit?
You really are rude.
Oh,
someone did that to you, you would cry for a week.
Listen, let's look at some of the other photos from St. Gallen. I've got a couple on here. This is us outside the stadium. And what a thing I have learned to do and appreciate a lot is when we go to a stadium, is to try and get in and see around the stadium on the morning before the game, which is a thing that you've done, Trevor, isn't it, for years?
Why have you changed the subject? You're still a prick.
Where's your badge gone, Trev?
I always go to the stadium on the morning of the game. Always have done. Even with PSV this time, being our third visit in 3 years, boring. I'll still go down to the stadium the morning of the game and have a wander around. Just gets me in the mood, that's all. And then I've got to go and collect my ticket in PSV because they've pulled me out for a ticket collection. When they say, can you give us ID? I'm going to say, yeah, my name's Ilzy. Here you go. Here's my ID.
Yeah, you could actually say, do you not know who I am now, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, he's got his own agent, hasn't he? So
yeah.
Again, this is in St. Gallen. The thing in St. Gallen, Trevor, was the beer was about £7 or so, €7, I think, a pint. But if you wanted to buy a burger, you'd have a mortgage. It was like 27 quid for a Whopper.
Where did Dan stay in St. Gallen? Did he stay with us?
No, we had that Airbnb with me, you, and Terry.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was all right. It was a nice little walk to the ground, but there was nothing in the area, was there? Well, no. There was that one little tiny bar that we had a couple of beers sat outside, but that was not brilliant.
They ended up watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons on the big screen inside. Do you remember?
Hey, look at this.
I love that comment. That's brilliant. I was going to say you'd get that. That's brilliant.
Well, so as away trips go, St. Gallen was one of the less interesting. The drive up there and the drive back was wonderful. beautiful country, Switzerland, isn't it? Even with Fergus rattling in my ear, talking crap for about 3 hours, I still didn't mind the drive, to be honest.
Yeah, look at that. The Swiss Alps. I know when we came through I think it's the St. Bernardino tunnel, which is about 12 miles long. As we came out, it was on these beautiful top of the mountain plains. And I was just looking for Peter the Goat Boy. It was like proper Heidi. So I'm showing my age now. Trevor, another one of yours. Talk to us about going to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, Bodo. I was expecting it to be really cold, but all it did was rain all week. But it was different, wasn't it? I've been to the Arctic Circle now to watch the Arsenal. Bodo, the people were brilliant. It was very expensive, but it was a laugh, as it always is. Fortunately, that was the Arsenal end you just showed. We only had 400 tickets, not that one.
No, I was just showing another one. That was all. That one.
We only had about 400 tickets, but for some reason, I got a ticket in the main covered stand, which was lovely and dry. That lot there all got wet through all game. I'll tell you, for nothing, all got wet through all game.
Andrew,
Yeah.
if you were to pick a European destination that you'd like to go for your first away game, where would the ideal one be? Because I'm conscious we're sitting.
Do you know what?
Trips
After what I saw you lot get up to in Porto, I would love to go back to Porto because that would just look absolutely epic. But you know, one of the places I'd love to go to Dortmund.
Okay,
Yeah.
What, the yellow wall?
I think I'd love to go to Dortmund and see it.
Do you know what?
But
Do you know what, Andrew? In Porto, right? It's very hilly, Porto, and the bars are right down by the river, down all the hills. And Fergus said to me, "Let's go down the bottom and meet the other lads." We'd had a bit of lunch, I think, Fergus and me on our own.
No, you didn't leave with the others, and you wanted to stay up at the top end in that little square that we were going to. But then nobody else stayed.
Yeah, but by the time we got down to the square, they were all just leaving to come back up again. And I said to you, "I told you so, Fergus. I told you we should have just stayed up there anyway." And you spat your dummy out massively. You spat your dummy out. You were dribbling into your grey beard.
I might spit my dummy out again now because that's factually incorrect.
You were furious.
Factually incorrect.
Unbelievable.
Where else are we going to go to?
Andrew, once he got angry, I didn't let it go. You know what I mean?
Oh no, absolutely, no. And this, I think there's a different side of Ferg that you see on a European away tour, from what I've heard.
I tell you what, I wound him up that much. There was a little pea dribble on the front of his trousers.
Let's look at one that we went to recently, which is Lons away. So the French, this is outside this little bar where we had and food. The French really went to town with some of their headdresses and everything else. But it wasn't the most friendly town in the world after the game, but they made some bloody noise in that stadium, didn't they, Trev?
Yeah, I think the stadium there holds more people than the town does.
I think you're right.
It was going to be noisy, but I didn't like Lons. It was rubbish before the game. We had about one decent bar to go in, and then after the game, it was horrible. It was like a hellhole. But
is that where the police led you down a dodgy road?
Not me, they didn't. Not me, Andrew. I was stopping in an Airbnb up by the ground. So when we come out in a convoy, I slipped out the convoy and got my phone on. I was about a 10-minute walk from my Airbnb. But what it didn't tell me was it was down these back streets with no lights, right? Dead quiet, about half midnight. And I'm thinking, my God, if they jump out on me here, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
never going to be seen again. And but Ferg, you had it the other way, didn't you? You had too many people around you.
Yeah, we left and we got marched right around the stadium. They made it a nightmare for us to get into the stadium in the first place. And then we walked back, and we were walking with a lady who was on her own just to make sure she was all right. And we got to where the railway station was up one road, and the main high street where our digs was down the following road, which is all covered with bars. And the bars were all pumping. All the Lons fans were in there. But as we went up the street, all of a sudden chairs and everything came flying at us. That was not nice. I saw the sparks of somebody's cigarette just going everywhere. Just kept walking, just kept their heads down. So it wasn't very pleasant. They weren't nice there.
You do get an idea of it when you sat at home, kind of like, because obviously we've got the group chat which everyone's talking to, And it is, you can pick up exactly what's going on just by sort of, the messages and the pictures that are going in the group chat. Sometimes you're sitting there just getting absolutely hammered because you can see what a great time everyone's having. But, sort of things like that, you really sort of, everyone's going, oh, you're back all right. Is everyone all right? Did you get back? Did you do this? And you're kind of thinking, Christ, what's gone on? Something's happened. So you can really build it's amazing how much of a picture you can pick of it all from all the comments that come through.
Yeah, Trevor, this might give you a bit of PST. Do you remember that?
Mojitos.
Mojito Trev.
And Mojitos in Madrid, and we weren't even playing in Madrid. We were playing in Seville, about a 3-hour train ride away. But what a night that was, eh? What a night that was, eh?
That was a night and a half. I've got some other photos in here, I think, of Madrid.
Yeah,
Let me
I
see
bet you have.
I do have that one, of course.
I'd let everyone in the bar know who we supported, but yeah, it was a good night.
I tell you, my highlight from that one was the mojitos that night in the pub, but trying to do a podcast when Dan and Alex were absolutely shit-faced and Trevor was just in mischief level like you wouldn't believe. I'm sitting there trying to do it all on a laptop. And they're chucking pieces of paper at me and everything else. Trevor, it was a funny old night.
It was a superb night. Excellent. I enjoyed every minute of it, mainly because you were getting wound up. So it was an excellent evening doing that podcast. I think I was just throwing little bits of paper at you, and you were trying not to boil. But the more I threw them, the more I could see him colouring up, ready to burst. I'm thinking, I'm nearly there. He's going to go in a minute, and he did.
But ultimately, where we were heading for. Was Seville, a city I thought as a city, it was absolutely fantastic. The stadium is roofless. I don't mean like as in Cockney roofless, but no roof. It's the hottest inland city in mainland Europe. Yet again, that night,
and it
rained and rained and rained.
It'd been lovely.
I remember you lot talking about this. Yeah.
It'd been lovely all day, Andrew. And I was in the upper tier on my own, no roof, in a t-shirt and shorts. And I've never been sweating all my born days. And it's just, I thought a couple of minutes before the game ended, I thought I'm going to slip out now because they're going to keep us in. But this big old copper went, no, not allowed. So after the game, I was stuck up there for about another half hour before they let us out the ground, which wasn't pleasant.
I've just seen this one from Lons as well. A great photo of that one. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Lons. I don't mind if I never go back there again, to be honest. I can get by without it.
The other one, you're talking about Porto. The trip to Porto involved multi-country trip. We started in Vigo in northern Spain, hired a car. The car wasn't the best car in the world. These three are smiling. Look, Trevor's probably giggling to himself right now seeing that.
It wasn't, he says, right, and I quote, it wasn't the best car in the world. All I will say is a bad workman always blames his tools, right? There was nothing wrong with that car. Nothing. It was small, but it worked perfectly. The wheels moved and it went. I was sat in the front and we were trying to get out of the airport. And I thought he's going to be concentrating on the road. So I just kept saying to him, Fergus, Sat-nav says next right. Ferg, Sat-nav says first exit in a roundabout. Ferg, the next exit says straight up. And by the time I got to about the fourth bit of advice, he'd bubbled over and I can't repeat what he called me and what he said. We had Dale and Dan in the back absolutely wetting themselves with laughter. It was absolutely hilarious trip. But the best thing about that trip, Ferg, it was almost free, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, because we flew back and the European rules mean that if your flight is delayed by more than 3 hours, you can get your money back or you get compensation. And the flight, literally, I've never seen a pilot fly so fast in my life. He was cutting every corner he could to try and land in Stansted. And he landed in Stansted in 3 hours and 1 minute late. And we went, ka-ching!
About 330 quid, wasn't it, each?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
nice. The flights were only about 40 quid return.
Yeah,
a right result.
Nice. And this was in the stadium with James. That was his first European trip. I think it was also Dale's first European trip as well.
Dale's second. It was
a second trip. Okay.
Yes, mate, yeah.
First one was PSV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
little while back. A nice stadium, Trev. Not a bad stadium, but it was a game that they nicked it at the very end from us, didn't they? With a sucker punch in the 93rd, 97th minute. Do you remember it?
Is that the one? He hit it from outside the area, didn't it? It curled into the corner. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Because you know what? I think at the end of that game as well, it was just kind of like, you kind of went, yeah, all right, whatever. Because that's the one where their manager was dancing in the changing room with the cigar, wasn't it? Saying it was game over.
Yes.
And stuff. And we certainly paid that back when they got back to the Emirates.
It was a funny sort of evening, that game, because we couldn't go near one of their players. If we went within a foot of one of their players, they went down.
Oh, yeah.
And the ref was buying it every time. The ref
was the 32 free kicks given or something like that, 23 or 32 or something?
It was infuriating. I mean, I would say that all the players in the Porto side went down at least once, and they went down well. Their acting skills, well, I'm surprised they're not in this next Oscars presentation nomination next week.
Who was the centre back? Who's the centre back? It always goes.
It was old Pepe.
He was old. Yeah. He was old. I can't remember his name.
Pepe. Man United has just gone 1-0 up at Arsenal in the youth game. Bugger.
Trev, this flag depicts a lot about European away days and everything else, and just the camaraderie amongst Arsenal fans and friends. Like a lot of these are on the WhatsApp group that we are, but it's just great company. And the 90 minutes of the game, that game we end up losing 1-0, but we still remember it as one of our most favourite trips. That was the trip where the Gabrielle song came.
Yeah, on the train, yeah. I always think to myself, Dave, if I can remember too much of the trip, have I had a good trip? Right? I have to look at the photos and they sort of jog my memory. And some photos I look at and think, oh my God, I didn't do that. Other photos I look at and think, oh, what a night we had. But that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. It is.
I can't wait. Honestly, cannot wait. It literally is just one of them things. It's going to have to be done fairly soon. Going to have to be done.
I suppose the one let me see what else we got on your reel that you've given me. Now this will make Alex and probably Dan, if he's watching. I know he's helping his sister move house at the minute, but this will give Dan like nightmares.
Oh no, this is that I love Munich, right? What a city! All those beer kellers and beer halls. It's a wonderful trip to all of Germany. I like going to all of Germany, really. But Munich is special, that middle of the city. And we were just on them big glasses
Steins
all the time we were there, really. And the only trouble with Munich now is it's a massive, great new modern stadium, but it's a long walk. They send you all round the houses off the railway to get to it. It's a good half an hour walk, and it does your head in a bit, but
is that the one with the famous picture of Trev holding the steins like this with his belly out? He's got them like 6 or 8.
Yeah,
that's probably the one. Look at that one. Yeah,
they were heavy. Let me tell you, I was worried I was going to drop them. But I'd do it. I couldn't bottle it. You know what I mean? I had to do it. Yeah.
Listen, the photos from Munich. It was a trip I couldn't make, but they looked absolutely fantastic. I don't think I was well, and I couldn't go to that one. And probably cash ran out as well, because as you say, these trips are not cheap. They're not cheap. We try and make them cheap. Like even Trevor starts singing and trying to busk in the beer kellers.
After I saw that picture, I started pulling my trousers up every time. Not nice. Not pleasant that at all.
And then it was the Allianz Stadium. You said it's a great stadium, Trevor, but the trip, I remember you sending a FaceTime to us, and it was pouring with rain, and they just make you walk miles and miles and miles. People need to get ready for that in 31st of May, don't they?
Yeah, it's a long walk round. Well, I would imagine that one team will get the home end, that it won't be so far to walk. But to get to the away end, they send you out the station and round the other way, and it's a long walk, and especially in the rain. It was raining last time we went, which was very unpleasant to say the least. But it's what you do, and it's what you do.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, hang on. My screens have all gone funny. 1 second.
What you done?
Nothing.
Broke it again.
Nothing.
I'll tell you what. I'll talk while Fergus is making a mess.
Where did you meet Ray Parlour?
Ray Parlour. That was a few years ago. The Arsenal legends were playing Real Madrid legends, right, at the Bernabeu, and me and a few good lads went over there to watch the game. There wasn't many Arsenal fans there. You could probably count on a couple of hands how many Arsenal fans were there. But it was a wonderful day, and Ray was sat on a plane right by me. And when we got off, I said, "Ray, any chance of a picture?" And he was, "Yeah, of course he is, mate. No problem, mate." But it was a cracking day, a Legends game, right? So, and there was like over 80,000 in the stadium.
Is this? I was trying to figure out whether is that one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the Legends game. Yeah, of course, that stadium's all changed now because they've put a roof on it and modernised it. So I'm desperate for us to beat PSV and get Real in the next round. I'd love to go back there and have a look at that stadium now.
You going, Ferg? We go if we do it.
No, I can't this year, unfortunately. So,
you don't want to come with me then, Andrew?
Oh no, I'm coming. If I can do it, Trev, I'm coming. I'm going.
Well, after that comment, you might not be invited, pal. So, you know.
I'll make it up to you, Trev. I'll get some beer in. Don't you worry.
But Madrid's a great city again to go to. It's a lovely city to go and watch football in. Yeah.
Trev, I'm going to play a video and then we can talk about this city. So I'm just going to play a quick video.
Oh, God, what video is it?
Hello, Debden Massive. They wanted to go to hospital. Listen to me. Wanted to go to hospital. What are you talking shit for? I just said I fell down the stairs. It was lethal in the place. Where is it? This is meant to be his bad hand now, and he's waving it around. That's my good hand. Oh, wait, it's the bad.
Trevor, I put those pictures up because when I said it was lethal.
Shut up a minute, Fergus. Look how he's lining them pictures up at the end, looking for a bit of sympathy.
Yeah. look how high up this is. Look at those steps there. See that metal there. So we got into the Philips Stadium. We got into the Philips Stadium in PSV, and yes, we've all had a few beers and everything else. And it was an earlier kickoff because it was Europa League. And we got to the top of the stairs, me and Dan. We got our tickets out, and the steward said to us, "Free seating anywhere you want." And all of a sudden, I got pushed. And I got pushed down those stairs, and I was just falling on my arse the whole way down those stairs until Lyle grabbed hold of me and dragged me into a seat. And I bruised all my hand, and I had broken my coccyx, and I had to drive for 7 hours back from Eindhoven. And did I get sympathy? Look at him. Did I get sympathy? Did I get any sympathy at all?
Look, right. He got a load of sympathy because after the game, I'd arranged with John Williamson, who we mentioned earlier, a good friend. We were going to go back and have a beer in his hotel, which was right by the PSV ground. This was the first game at PSV 3 years ago now. So anyway, as I come out the ground, because I'm in a different stand to these boys, I was sat in corporate.
That's another story. That's another story.
I was going to say, there was one where you got into corporate for free. I can remember this.
He blagged it. He blagged it.
Okay. So my phone goes, right? And it's Terry in a full-on panic mode, right? Trev, you might need to help us. Fergus has fallen down and really hurt himself badly. We're going to have to take him to hospital. So I'm drunk, right? But I say, right, listen, I don't know where you are. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go back to our hotel, sit in the bar and drink beer. Anywhere from there, right? So I sat in the bar drinking beer for about 3 hours on my own now. So I'm absolutely wrecked, right? I'm leaning on a bar, slurring, drinking this beer, having a great time. And in walks Fergus, limping and holding his hand like this, right?
And then you were on Facebook Live.
And I just couldn't help but laugh. It was hilarious. It just come into me.
Facebook Live. This is what he does on Facebook Live.
Massive. They wanted to go to hospital. Listen to me. Wanted to go to hospital. What are you talking shit for? I just said I fell down the stairs. It was lethal in the place. Where is it? This is meant to be his bad hand now, and he's waving it around. That's my good hand. Oh, wait, it's the bad.
I just got it in my head and it made me giggle. I kept thinking to myself, he's banking hand, if you know what I mean. Right. And I was just laughing. And the more he got angry, the more I laughed. Anyway, we ended up calming down and sat there after night drinking beer in this bar, and it was hilarious. But I was glad he was better. I wasn't glad the following day when he insisted on showing me his bare, bloody bruised arse. That wasn't pleasant, to say the very least. But
he's never spoken about it since, has he?
Oh God.
I'll tell you what, it was a really good trip in the sense that where we said do the stadium tours, that morning we came along and we got to the stadium, and I actually didn't put the photo up, but there's the main entrance to the stadium had got a like a revolving door, and it said media entrance, or no, main entrance, Europa League on top of it. And I said, Trev, just walk towards it and I'll take a picture. So Trevor started walking towards it. I'll get the picture in a second while you were talking about it in a second, Trev. But start walking towards it. And then he just carried on walking. And he walked in and he went, hello, darling, to the lady behind reception. And then go on, trying to blag our way onto the pitch. And I
was trying to blag me way into the stadium, yeah, but she weren't having none of it. But what she did say, that if we went round a bit further, there's actually in the corner of the PSV stadium is a lovely little bar that's open all day, you know, and you sit pitch side and sit in this bar and have a few beers. And it's a different experience to any other ground I've been to, actually. So always like to have a quick visit there and have a few beers, get a few pictures by the pitch. I did send you a picture or two from us beside the pitch there.
I'll bring it up in a second. I'm just trying to find that other picture I talked about. 1 second, I'll find it.
We'll be doing it again on game day this time, going there and having a few beers and hopefully cheering on a good win.
Keep on waffling. You're good at that.
He's pretending. Look at his face. Look at Fergus's face now. He's pretending.
He's trying to find it.
He's sensible. Look, you know what I mean? Unbelievable. So yeah, but that was the first trip to PSV, which was a very good. They're all very good trips. We do.
I've been out when you showed that picture there. It just reminded, because I have been out to. I went to Amsterdam to watch England out in Amsterdam. To there, and it was exactly the same. Those seats and stuff, with the gaps between them as well. And I can remember sort of like, but they had a massive perspex screen in front of us. So it is interesting when you go to some away days. I bet there's certain some away ends you'd never go in again. There you go. The perspex screen's at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, there was netting as well as perspex screens right round. Yeah, it was lethal, absolutely lethal.
But like most in a way. Ferg, I must just say, it's coming in the comments. I'm watching it here. Arsenal have just equalised. It's 1-1 now. Arsenal under 18. So come on, you Gunners. Sorry, Ferg.
No, that's fine.
Do you not think, though, right? Go back to what we were saying earlier on, with some of them playing in there, because there is some absolute talent in that under 18s and under 21 squad. It's amazing what we've got coming through. I think we'll be shame we can't give some of them a bit of a run out.
Well, as soon as we get them to a decent age now, Man United nick them, didn't they? But never mind, we won't talk about that tonight.
The good thing about PSV, and there's a carnival on ahead of the game coming up next.
I can't wait. I've got my fancy dress ready. Top secret though.
It's drag, you know.
I can't tell you what it is.
But this square, it was just electric. There's about 20 bars all around the square, and all the seating areas in the middle. And you got O'Shea's, which myself and Dan went to one night. But you just bump into people, and it's just good fun. Trev?
No, we see you associate with the opposition fans. I don't go anywhere near them. I'm too busy talking to my own people. I haven't got time to talk to opposition fans. But that square in PSV is all right. The first time we went there, it was a bit of a warmer time of year. It's all right if it's not freezing and it's dry, but last time it was raining a bit and it was cold, so it wasn't so pleasant. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. That I've got. Oh, there it is. There's another one of PSV. That's from the last trip to PSV.
That's with Dale.
Yeah, Dan and me and Dale and Peterborough Pete. That is big tall fella. Yeah, big tall fella. Once again, it's all just good times. What about you see the game earlier this season at Atalanta was interesting. Ferg didn't go. Andrew, me and Dan went, right.
The calzones.
They're the calzones. Dan ate all of his. I couldn't eat all of mine, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I did, honestly. I couldn't eat it all. It was massive. But Dan ate all of his. But it was, what a great place, Bergamo, where Atalanta play, obviously. The best Guinness I've had outside the UK ever. Outside the UK. It was in Bergamo. Beautiful.
We need to get Dundalk next time again.
That's the UK part of the UK. That's close enough.
It's Republic of Ireland, I'll tell you.
Yeah, UK.
British Isles, but Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, okay then. I knew he'd buy it, Andrew.
Oh yeah.
Didn't take long, did it? I could see it.
We had the best Guinness, but they got a bit of a reputation, some of the Atalanta fans. So they'd made up a fan zone in the town in the middle of Bergamo, and they had buses to take us to the ground. And they didn't just stop outside the ground. They took us through the gates, right up to the turnstiles at the away end of these buses. You got off and you had about 2 steps and you was in the ground, which was lovely when you've had a few beers. But afterwards, they were trying to get us on the buses. And where we were staying, me and Dan and my mate Simon and Espen, we were all staying near the ground. So we slipped by the buses and started walking down this road towards where we were staying, or where we hoped we could get a beer. And must have been about 20 young Atalanta lads jumped out in front of us. And it wasn't funny at the time at first, because they're all dressed in black with their hoods on, all confronting us. And one of them swinging a pair of nunchucks around his head. You know, I'm thinking, oh, my God. Oh, my. And I thought, well, I'm too old to run away. Too old to run away here. So he's got one swing with them nunchucks. If you don't get me, I'm on him. This old fella's on him. Like, but with that, a little bit of a police siren went off in the background. And I think these young lads from Italy thought that we were all going to disperse, and we just stood there thinking, well, what will be, will be. So they all turned around and run away, these kids, and left us alone. So what looked like it was going to be a nasty situation turned out to be absolutely all right. And I'm glad that, thank that policeman for just sounding his siren and putting a bit of doubt in their heads. But, you know, that's what you get. It doesn't happen very often at away games now. It doesn't happen very often at all. But it just goes to show you still got to be a little bit careful, you know.
Before I put up our last photo, Dale asked in the chat, in one word, what was your favourite European away, the place that you wouldn't rush back to, and finally the place you would love to go to?
Oh God!
Well, I wouldn't go back to Lons. It was crap. It was absolutely crap. They made us so unwelcome. It was unreal. I absolutely loved Seville. I'd like to spend more time in Seville. And where would I really like to go to? Probably somewhere like the new camp or something like that. The new camp, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll have to generalise a bit here, but I love any away game in Germany. I love going to Germany. I'm desperate, as Andrew just said, I'm desperate to go and see that yellow wall.
Yeah.
I've not been there. And I like Madrid, if I'm honest. I really like going to games in Madrid. It's a great city. I love it there. You can find some lovely little backstreet eateries and bars just off the main drag in Madrid, but still in the middle of the city, and sit there and have a few beers. So, yeah, I mean, I nearly said simple while Frank Donner's watching. Yeah, I love going to Madrid, but I also love away trips to Germany. Well, I've not had many that I'd say I wouldn't want to go back. Probably, yeah, as Fergus just said, Lons was a bit, you know, boring and a bit dodgy. You see, the other French, Rennes, we played in Rennes a few years ago, right? And before the game, we were at the ground early, me and Terry, and before
burgers were good there, apparently.
You what?
The burgers were good there, weren't they?
I can't remember.
Okay, don't worry.
But we went in this bar right opposite the ground, right? And there's only about 2 or 3 people in there. So we've ordered beers and we sat in this corner. And as we sat there for about half an hour, it turns out it's the Rennes Ultras pub, right? And it's absolutely rammed with these raving lunatics letting off flares and swinging their scarves around. And I thought, oh my God, if this lot find out we're Arsenal fans, we are in desperate trouble here. But we sneaked out. We had a little sneak out. And
we've done that in Liverpool as well, haven't we?
Well, I enjoy that. I like the King Harry I do at Liverpool.
Andrew, just switching the question around a little to yourself then. So what's your favourite away day memory that, I know you've not been on one yet, but what's your favourite European away day memory that you can think of all time and maybe of more modern times under Arteta?
You've not been on one yet, but what's your favourite away day memory in Europe? How can you answer that? You've just said you ain't been on one yet.
Seen a game, watch a game, you know, like, I don't know, 5-1 in Milan.
No, do you know what? Right. So one of the big reasons I became an Arsenal fan was when Alan Smith scored against Parma 1-0, and I think I was 11 or 12, I think, when he did that. And then one of the big reasons I became an Arsenal fan was because of that moment. And that's one I always remember. 93, Parma, Alan Smith scoring the winner. 94, sorry, I'm scoring the winner. I think one of the other ones that always sticks in my mind, and actually it was a question I was going to ask you to actually, was like, of all the away games you've been to, you're across Europe, taking the drinking and everything else, the best footballing moment that you've had, or you can remember that is during those games. Because one of the things that I always remember, and I always remember the commentary, was Thierry Henry has scored in the Bernabeu. And that was like, that must have been absolutely mental to have been in there, that place that night.
I wasn't there.
I think the biggest high, and it turned out to be the game of the biggest ever lows, and I've never watched it back, was Campbell scoring in the Champions League final, when we're down to 10 men. And you were thinking, we'll never hold on. And we get to 75 minutes and we're still holding on. And then, of course, they scored 2 goals, and I've never been able to watch the game back. But for an actual high, that's right up there. That's right up there for me, alongside the Alan Sunderland goal at Wembley in 79, when the 5-minute final, as they called it. And, of course, my first ever memory, Ferg, Andrew, of really the Arsenal was in 1970-71. And I can remember watching on the telly the FA Cup final against Liverpool that year, and it went to extra time 0-0. And Highway scored for Liverpool. And I still say to this day, Bob Wilson should have saved it. And I think he does himself, in all fairness, beat him at his near post. And I remember my dad, God rest his soul, saying, I don't think you'll win now, son. I don't think Arsenal can come back against Liverpool now. And I cried. I was only about 9 or 10 years old, and I cried my eyes out. Stony Crows, we went and won it 2-1. And the following day, we were out hanging red and white scarves out the car. That was wonderful as a kid. But going back to what we said, but Campbell scoring in that final, mate, gave me full of hope. There's loads. There's so many, Ferg.
I know. Another Campbell, Kevin Campbell, who got us all the way. He scored the decisive goal in the semi-finals to get us to Copenhagen for that final against Parma. You have been showing a Kevin Campbell flag, bringing a Kevin Campbell flag up and down the country and all over Europe. Yeah. Talk to us about the flag, Trev.
Well, I didn't know Kevin Campbell that well, but he was someone who made me feel like I was his friend. He really put me at ease from the very start. And I'd never done podcasting before. Fergus kindly asked me to, and I was a bit green. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And Kevin Campbell contacted me one day. He said, "Oh, get on my show." So I went on, just me and him, 1-to-1, talking about who we'd like round the dinner table. Then we did another show, Kevin and me, just talking about me being an Arsenal fan. And he really put me at ease, and I'm forever grateful to him for that. And I absolutely adore the man, love the man. And when he unfortunately passed away at such a young age, I thought, right, I'm going to get a flag made. I'm going to get a flag made of my hero, and I'm going to take him all around Europe. And he's been to every game in Europe this season. He's going to come to Eindhoven with us, and he'll be at every game until we go out of Europe. I think if we get to the final, we'll be in Munich with us. If we don't, it's already been arranged with the family. The family are going to have the flag to do as they wish with. We'll have done our bit, and we remembered a really great man on and off the field. There wasn't, and I'm not being insulting to other ex-players here or ex-managers or ex-people in football. I'm far from being insulting. But of all the people I've been lucky enough to talk to, Kevin Campbell was the one that made you feel at home. The easiest, right? The easiest. He was just a great man. Great man. I loved him, and God rest him.
Yeah, no, Kevin, a good friend of the show, and genuinely a nice man. And I remember hearing the obituaries about him on the radio, and I didn't hear of anybody and it was all very, very genuine, who didn't say a good word about him. He just seemed to be a kind person with a kind soul. And remember, love the people that matter to you. I think it was his catchphrase at the end of the Highbury squad.
If you look at, Theo's got his like little Arsenal wall he's developing now, and him bang in the centre of that wall is that picture that someone took of him with that Kevin Campbell flag. So he's got it. You can see him at the side. I think you're on the other side of it, Trevor. Your head's above it, with Donna as well. And bang in the centre of the wall, and he loves it.
Yeah.
I'm going to press the button, Trev.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying this chat, Ferg.
I know, but
I'm listening. I'm like listening to all the history. I'm loving this. Come on, let's keep going. There's many stories.
Listen, right, Sporting Lisbon. We've played Sporting Lisbon 3 times in the recent years, and it's the only away game where Dan found this place a couple of seasons ago when we played away at Lisbon, a shopping centre, right? But it's got a big eatery in the middle, and you can get a pint of Sagres or whatever it is for €1, right? So we were in there all afternoon, and when we played last year, I said to Dan, should we go back to that shopping centre? And he went, yeah. And so Donna was with us. She came, and a couple of other lads. I can't remember who was with us now. But we said to all these other lads, we're going to this shopping centre thinking they wouldn't come. And it ended up with about 20 of us in the middle of a shopping centre, right?
There's a picture of that in there.
These are the kind of things that happen.
I'm trying to look to see if I got it.
Yeah, I've sent it to you. Yeah, there's a picture of us with the flag, Ferg.
Yeah, I'm looking through them. Give me a second.
All of us with the flag. But it was a great afternoon, and it was a euro or €1.50 a drink. And staggered up to the ground. We had a great afternoon.
I think that's what I'm really looking forward to. It's just being out there with everybody and just really sort of having all your mates together and having a few beers and just being, they're going to watch the football. You don't get any better than that, does it?
No. And you see, Andrew, Atalanta got heavy this year because normally you have a skinful of beer before the game, but while the game's actually on, you sober up a bit, Yeah. Well, at Atalanta this year, they were serving beer and you could take it to your seats. So we just never stopped. They just kept coming in with beer after beer after beer. What a trip. I can't wait until Monday. Can't wait until Monday when we get on that plane again. 8:25 from Stansted Monday morning. Myself, Ryan and Dave are on it. We're going to have a Guinness for breakfast, as we always do. And then we're going to enjoy what is an hour's flight, which I took a chance. No, that's not it. That's the sound.
No, I know. I haven't got it there in there, Trev. I'm looking through them all.
Oh, maybe I haven't sent it to you then, mate. But
no.
But I took a chance that we would get a Dutch team a couple of weeks ago, and I booked return flights to Eindhoven for £36, Andrew.
Yeah.
As soon as the draw was made, they were up to like £500-600. So I had a right touch. I mean, I would have lost 36 or 38 quid. I would have lost it, but I'd have happily lost it. I've got a right bargain. So,
you have, absolutely. And I think that's what you go back to, isn't it? It's organising those trips so you know where you're going to make it cost effective to have more money to spend on the beer.
Absolutely. Well, Fergus don't need that because he never buys one. But yeah, it helps if I've got a few quid. Ferg, listen, right? I know you're going to press the button in a second, but look at the viewers, right? All we've done is waffle on here, right? About what we've done in Europe because we've got nothing else to talk about. We're going to talk about the Eindhoven game on Monday when we've all had a few. We've still got like 260 odd people watching. Oh, it's truly humbling, Ferg.
Yeah. If you would like to go across to our YouTube channel, we'd really appreciate it if you'd liked and subscribe to us. Also, just before I press that button, we got a bit deep and meaningful on Monday night's podcast. Dan put a question up and just about how coping with defeat and coping with games and everything else. And I had a few messages from some people, and it was really, really nice that people took value in it. And, it was good that they reached out. So it was really, 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 really good to get those messages. And yeah, it was just a good message. So if you haven't seen that show, go back and watch it. We had Lathe on, and then we talked about the West Ham game briefly. And then we looked ahead to a bit more of Europe, just leading into Europe. To be honest, Europe is where our focus is going to be at the minute. I've got that photo. 1 second, Trev.
It's of course Europe is where our focus is going to be, right? But the performance against Forest lifted me again after West Ham. It lifted me nicely. I'm biased as hell, so I'm absolutely talking probably about absolute load of crap, right? But our football at the moment is aligned to progressing in Europe, I'm sure. You can see that the shops in the background, not only were we getting beers, but we could eat food like KFC, Taco Bell. There was all sorts there. So a lot of us, we just had a skinful of beer.
Trevor in a Stone Island.
Did I have Stone Island on?
It looks like it, mate.
Did it?
Yeah, it does look like it. It's not. I don't think it is Stone Island, but it just looks it.
No, it's not Stone Island, actually. So take that back.
No.
Take it back.
No.
It's not Stone Island.
I am going to press the button. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Guns
Hang on a minute. Just one other thing to say. What's talking shit for?
Right, on that note.
Ferg, just before you go on, right? One more story, right? I've just been looking at my notes, right? Because you were at this game, but we weren't together, were we? After the game, we had a few more beers, me and my mate Terry, and we staggered back towards our hotel. We found a kebab house open, right? So we goes in there, orders two. I just said to the bloke, "Sell me the biggest kebab you've ever made. I'm starving, right? What do you want in it? I don't care. Just give me the biggest kebab." And we leant on the counter, and I'm looking, right, and I'm drunk, remember, right? So I thought I was seeing things at first, and then I said to Terry, "Is that mice running around behind that counter?" And behind his counter in his kebab house, running around the floor, was these mice, right? Kept skirting backwards and forwards. And I thought to myself, what are we going to do? I'm absolutely starving. And because I was drunk, I thought, just pretend I never saw them. And it was a lovely kebab. I don't know what was in it, but I wasn't sick afterwards. But it was
Mouse.
It wasn't until the following morning I thought, oh my God. I remember what I did now. And listen, one more, right? Where were we, Ferg? You weren't there. Where were we? Milan, wasn't it, when Alex came? We hadn't. Alex was there, and Dan was there, and Ryan was there, and there was a few there. And we also, I don't know why we all met. It was a long way from the ground. Me and Alex went in this chicken bar, right? And all the lads were in there. We thought, oh, Jesus, how have we all met up? And we started ordering chicken, and they started nuking it in this microwave, right? This chicken, and it was the roughest chicken I've ever. I took one bite, and I thought, no, if I eat too much more of this, I ain't going to wake up in the morning. I'm not going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to be gone, and I ain't made a will yet. So I thought I better not eat anymore. But as we left there, right, there was Alex, me, and Dan, and we're drunk, proper drunk, and Ryan was with us, I think. And as we went, there's nothing on the road. As we went across this road, I just grabbed Alex's arm. You know, Alex is Danish. I went, Alex, stop. Well, I've never heard someone scream in such a high-pitched voice, right? It was like something out of St. Trinian's, and he was screaming. And I said to him, what are you screaming at? And he went, I don't know. I thought there was a car coming. And I can't make out why he was hallucinating, because I'd drunk all his beer all day. He's got this habit, Alex. He has a few beers, a young kid, and he'll give you a little nudge and he'll say, can you do me a favour? What's that, Alex? What? Can you drink my next beer for me? I'm full. Yeah. All right. So me, like an idiot, I'll drink it, right? And of course, by about midnight, I'm on my arse. I'm done, because I've drunk twice as much as I should have done.
He was the same. He was the same in that night in Madrid when Dan took him into that £2. I think it was €2 a pint, and then they were on sangrias, then they were on shots, and that's when they came back after that and done the podcast. It was absolutely hilarious.
Wonderful. I could talk about this all night. I'm sorry, guys.
Of course you could. You could
so many stories.
Listen to it all night.
Andrew, before you go, we just played North London Forever, The Angel by Lewis Dumford. You saw him in Nottingham. Somebody else met him in Nottingham as well, didn't they?
He did. He saw him in Nottingham. Yeah, we waited. Fair play. We waited outside for him. And the minute he saw Theo's North Bank cap, straight over, came over, had a picture with him, signed what he had for him, and just had a bit of a chat with him. But Theo was telling him about Guns and Yellow Ribbons, and he was saying that he's been sent the video from the end that we use to close the show. I've even asked him if he'll have a cheeky appearance. So waiting to hear off him, but we'll see. We'll see if it happens.
Highly unlikely, but it would be
highly unlikely. But we've asked. I've asked.
We have.
Take that opportunity.
Andrew, thank you for joining us. It must have been a nice show to listen to some memories, but also feeling like I can't contribute hugely.
Do you know what? You can't. It's great listening to all the memories and stuff, and it just makes you want to get on a European trip even more. It's great fun listening to everything that you guys get up to, because that's what we all do, and it's mates, and we all go out there. So it just makes it more reason to get one sorted.
Yeah. Trevor, I'm not going to start you off again.
Listen, right. Just before lockdown, we played Olympiacos away, right? And if you play Olympiacos away, if you know what you're doing, you don't stop in Athens. You stop in Piraeus, because Piraeus is near their ground, just outside Athens. And I got to my hotel, right, and it was just all red lights all around it, and all the windows were blacked out. And I thought, Jesus Christ, I'm stopping in a brothel here. You know what I mean? And you walked in the doors, and you could hardly see. Just see the reception, and there was all red lights. And I thought, oh my God, what is going on? And so I asked the question. I said to the girl behind the counter, I'm not stopping in a brothel here, am I? She went, no, of course you're not. She said, but we are a hotel that's well known for newly married and young couples to come and spend the night together. So I went, oh, all right. I thought, well, put my earplugs in and we'll be all right, you know. But Olympiakos, I love Athens. Fergus, I lived in Greece. I love the Greeks. I love Athens. But when we beat them, we got held in the ground and they started letting fireworks off outside. And I thought, what are they letting fireworks off for? They've lost. But they weren't letting the fireworks off to go in the air. They were firing the fireworks over the stand, trying to land them in amongst us lot. So it was all right. They didn't get anywhere near us, but when we got out of there, you had to keep your head down a little bit because them Greeks, you know, they're wonderful people. If we've got any Greek people or people that have got Greek relatives, I love the Greeks. But by God, they take their sport so seriously, so seriously. If you beat them after a game, you've got to keep your head down because they don't take to it kindly, you know. But that's it from me now. If we do it again, I'll get some more stories. But I'm
Peterborough Pete is called Tony, by the way.
Yeah, well, if I can't remember someone's name, they're all Pete. So he was Pete until someone told me he's Tony. Pete is now Tony. Peterborough Tony. Oh, that's it. I called him Tall Tony because he was about 7 foot tall. He owes me as well because I got him a ticket for that game. He went out without a ticket and I found him a ticket. And he said, collect it for me. I said, I'm bloody well not going to collect it for you. You go and collect it. I'm too busy drinking beer. Anyway, it was a lovely man. Tall Tony.
We're going to be doing this all night. We're just going to keep going. Come on.
Yeah, you have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans.
Just before we go,
fans.
Just before.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons, on Twitter at Guns and Ribbons, and remember to rate and review us too. Love the Arsenal.
More. We want more. We want more.
Go on then, Trev. One more. One more story.
I was thinking it was going to end. I haven't got one more. I've not looked up for one more. I haven't looked up. The only thing I will say, if you go to Athens, right, the food in Athens, the meat and that. I only went for 4 nights. I came back stone heavier, and it weren't down to the beer. Let me tell you.
You've been there last week as well.
Was I?
No. On that note, thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Love it.
Tune in Monday. Monday has got to be funny. Monday's
I
got to
won't
be funny.
remember.
7 o'clock.
But thanks for watching. If you do.
8 o'clock in PSV.
I'll practice now.
They will be on the video.
Oh, what a great day today, Fergus.
I can't wait for Monday night. It's going to be ace. It's going to be ace.
Okay.
Right, listen, let these people go. Stop it now.